We take the disappointing with the really good this week, a game the Cards wish they could have back, and another LU game they wish they could bottle. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lamar Basketball Show with head coach Tick Price. Coach, welcome.
Thank you, Greg.
Well, I tell you what, again, your team loses a game you shoulda, woulda, coulda had, weren't able to pull it out in overtime, but you come back, and again, your team shows resilience.
Always have had the ability to bounce back. Our kids could have easily quit by now, but they have some stick-to-itness about them, which allow us to continue to battle and stay in the chase for possibly getting a KD and maybe making some things happen.
Absolutely. All right, let's check in with the first game from this past week. The first of four at the Montaigne Center, Coach, in this whole pod scheduling system we'll get to in a moment. It is the Cardinals and A&M Corpus Christi, and this one goes overtime, Coach.
Yeah, it did. Texas Corpus Christi is a team that's they're very talented. A mean kid, plays with a lot of energy. They've got a monster inside, Rashawn Thomas, who ended up getting 22 points, 12 rebounds. He was just coming off of not playing a couple games. And they play with a lot of energy. But I do think that our guys for it as well. I thought Josh and Zecor did a good job manning the paint, as well as Carlton Weisbrot. That 1-2 punch for us has been working of late. But again, the elephant in the room, which we won't talk about unless you bring it up, came back and haunt us. Yeah, of course, as well as quite a few people in the community. I have collective wisdom of the entire community.
I'm guessing you're talking about free throws.
Oh, well, you know what? I knew it was coming. But you know what? Sometimes when you have a scratch where it itches, and you can't find it,
yeah,
it'll drive you crazy. Right. So right there, that's what's happening with us. Yeah. It's driving us crazy because that's the bottom line. We're trying to clean that area up, and we'll continue to work on it until we fix it.
Yeah, Coach, the thing about that, they outscored you by, 10 points at the free throw line in this game. And you look back on that, and you can, of course, you just get back at the free throw line in practice. You can't belabor the point, just move forward. Yeah. But that is definitely, you had a 3-point lead at the half. They come back to score 3 more in the second half, and then it goes overtime. And Corpus Christi able to pull out a 69-66 win over your guys. LU shot 42%. LU outscored at the free throw line again by 10 points. Lamar had 4 players in double figures. Colton Weisbrot leading the way with 14.7 rebounds. The Cardinals dropped to 4-4 in the Southland Conference. And Coach, again, not to belabor the point, but you now have 2 overtime losses and you lose a game at the buzzer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Well, it's called coming up short. Missed opportunities and lack of poise. It normally spell doom, and that's what's been happening with those games that we're missing free throws. We've got to concentrate more and make sure we knock those shots down. There's nobody there but you in the rim. You got to have confidence, but it's being talked about so much now. I think it's gotten into some of the players' heads, but we've got to be mentally strong and make sure we take care of that part of the game.
And you want to shoot better free throws at home anyway.
Of course.
It's your home rim.
Yeah, of course, of course.
All right, we'll talk about a huge win by Lamar against Northwestern State in just a moment. But first, time again to name this week's Provost Umphrey Player of the Week. It's the Cardinals' 3-point bomber in the spotlight. Can we call Nick Garth that, 3-point bomber?
Well, they used to call him automatic in high school. And they had a student section. Every time he hit a shot, there was, I think, an A on a board. Right. So they ran out of A's one night. He was knocking them down so regularly. So he came here with the nickname Automatic. All
right, Nick Garth, sophomore out of Houston, had a huge game against Northwestern State, hitting 6 threes in the win over the Demons. Garth finished with 18, most of those, Coach, in the stretch where Northwestern was able to cut into a huge Lamar lead. Nick is second in the Southland Conference in 3-point shots made. Nick Garth, the Provost Umphrey Player of the Week.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. He comes off the bench and really helped raise our level of play. Once he knocks down 1 or 2 threes, that normally gets everybody going. But he's certainly a capable 3-point shooter, one of the most prolific 3-point shooters in the Southland Conference. And we just got to continue to call plays. Once he gets going, we continue to call plays in hopes that he'll continue to knock down shots because he's a he's one of a kind when it comes to three-point shooting.
Is it safe to say he's never met a shot that he didn't like?
Well, it is. You know what? He reminds me of Vinnie Johnson. I know you remember that name.
Yeah, microwave.
The microwave.
Yeah.
He's capable of getting hot, and he can shoot it from the parking lot.
Okay, time now to talk a little Lamar basketball history with our Lamar trivia question. Roger and Susan McCurry trivia question. When is the last time 4 Lamar Cardinals all scored at least 20 points in a game? We're going to go back a few years, Coach, on that one. In fact, they were at the game, several of them were at the game Saturday when they introduced some of the Lamar greats.
Man, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
Can we get a tease on that and come back?
I'm teasing you right now.
I have no idea.
We'll come back to it a little bit later on. How does that sound? And we'll find out
good.
the answer to our trivia question. All right, when we continue with Lamar Basketball Show with Tick Price, our social media question, and how well would the Cardinals bounce back from the loss to the Islanders? That answer, resoundingly, when we come back.
Lamar University Basketball with Coach Tick Price. Brought to you by Provost Humphrey Law Firm, Bandos Catering, Universal Coin and Bullion, Raymond James, and ExxonMobil. With special thanks to Susan and Roger McCurry.
Mapping the oceans where we explore.
Protecting biodiversity
everywhere we work.
defeating malaria,
Improving energy efficiency.
Developing more clean-burning natural gas.
My job at ExxonMobil.
Turning algae into biofuels.
Reducing energy poverty.
In the developing world.
making cars go further with less.
Fueling the global economy.
And you thought we just made the gas.
Energy lives here.
Most people who've been involved in accidents with an 18-wheeler driver, it's their first time. For an 18-wheeler, they've been down this more than once. And so they have a plan, they have a system in place. Most people who've been involved in accidents are not trained that way. Get with legal counsel so they can give you the appropriate steps to take the appropriate action so they can get the appropriate remedy.
To be honest, I didn't really understand the full extent of the accident. And then I realized that I was gonna need someone to represent me and not just anybody. And so I knew that while I was recovering, I needed someone that I can trust. And you know, I had a lot of sad days because of being ill and not being able to spend time with my family and my friends like I love to do. But at the same time, I never worried about my case at all. I knew I was in good hands.
Have you been thinking about diversifying with gold but don't know how? Hi, I'm Mike Fulgens, president of Universal Coin and Bullion. As an award-winning nationwide dealer, we help clients get the answers they need to discover the beauty, security, and strength of gold in their portfolio.
Call us today at 866-UCB-GUIDE to receive our award-winning Gold Guide free. That's 866-822-4843.
We are back with the Lamar Basketball Show with Tick Price. Well, after a disappointing loss to Corpus Christi, Lamar with another gut check of sorts. This time, check it off as a win. The Cardinals put the beat down on Northwestern State. And Coach, you had to be impressed with the way your team came out. You led from wire to wire.
Yeah, they were a group of angry birds that day.
They were.
I think that our guys really knew that some of the former players were there. We had an outstanding crowd, our fan base. They were there and were cheered from start to finish. Yep. And that's the type of environment we want in the Montaigne, when you have your fans out there and it's growing. Our style of play is very good, but we knew if we could stop the transition game and contain their dribble penetration, as well as to hold them to one shot, that would be pretty much half the battle. And we were able to do those type of things. We controlled the drivers. They're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the conference, and we won the battle of the boards. All of those things were effort areas. We knew if we won those areas, we would have an opportunity to get to the winner's circle, and we were able to do that.
Yeah, Northwestern State had Lamar's number the last few years, but the numbers all about Lamar this time around, scoring the first 9 points of the game. And as we mentioned, some of the former players were able to make their way to the Montaigne Center for a little tribute. And, Coach, you guys were so aggressive early on. You scored the first 9 points and really put the Northwestern in a hole.
Well, Josh and Zecor was very active in the paint. Colton Weisbrot got in the passing lane and got a steal for a layup. And there's Josh again with a nice post move, power into the rim. But we played with a lot of strength, a lot of energy. I just thought we played unselfish basketball. We ended up with 23 assists as a team versus 13 for them. And so we shared the basketball. Marcus Owens came off the bench and knocked down some big threes for us. And it really was a total team effort.
I thought Josh and Marcus really kind of carried the load there in that first half.
Yeah, Marcus came off the bench and really energized us. And there's Zori Bosher as well, getting in the passing lane, getting a deflection for a layup dunk. He does a lot of the little things. People just don't understand. It doesn't show up on the stat sheet. But he has been the guy on the defensive end, the unsung hero for us.
Yeah, he's long.
Yeah, he's long and he uses his length and he anticipates well. He's done a good job.
I think another key stat in this game, Coach, as far as numbers go, you outscored Northwestern State 46-21 in the paint.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that's always good, isn't it, when you get that kind of production? You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about three-point shooting at that point.
Well, what's going on now, I think people's scouting report feels like they have to stop inside guys and Josh and Colton, and that opens up some things for our perimeter players. And they've been in the gym, Marcus, Joy, French Wood, Marcus Owens, Nick Garth. Those guys have been putting in a lot of extra time. Cam, of course, Cam McGee, he's one of the main guys. They hadn't had a chance to see him as much, but he's got a bright future. Yeah, he's got a bright future here, Lamar.
All right, here's your final score. Lamar wins it over Northwestern State by a final of 85-64. That's the wrong score on there. But regardless, Lamar did win that game, 85-64, a 21-point win. And in that game, Lamar scores 30 points off Northwestern turnovers. 4 players in double figures, led by Weisbrot and Garth with 18. Also in Zecor had 17. Lamar shot 55%, 63% in the second half, Coach. So you've got to be extremely pleased with that.
Well, when you shoot a high percentage, that means there's good shot selection involved. We were able to get quite a few transition buckets, which gives you a high percentage. And then Josh did a good job, as well as Colton, Dorian Chapman, of keeping balls live on the offensive boards.
All right, Lamar goes to 5-4 with that 85-64 victory. The magic of television. We changed that score just like that.
Yeah.
See how that happens? Anyway, that's a great win for you guys, and certainly it shows you again that this team can bounce back from a very disappointing night.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that. It shows a lot of character about the players that we have. We certainly don't want to continue to make a habit of having to bounce back.
Right.
We want to put together some W's and build some momentum, especially as we go down the home stretch.
I was going to ask you if you figured this team out yet, but I'm not going to ask you that. Okay?
I'll tell you what, I have. We just know that there are still work in progress in certain areas for us to get better, but we certainly have the type of guys that's willing to put in the extra time. And some of it's part of the maturation process, too. We're growing. We have guys we hadn't had guys that played a year together yet. Yeah. We're playing game to game and expecting to get better. And we are doing that. We're just falling short in certain areas, and we'll get better.
Right, and more importantly, this team is still in the thick of things in the Southland Conference. Let's take a look at the standings. Sam Houston State has won 7 straight. The Bearcats beat Southeastern Louisiana by a bucket to go to 7-2. UNO lost to SFA, dropping the Privateers out of sole possession of the lead. The Jacks of SFA with a win now moving to sole possession of third. You have them coming up on your schedule. And Lamar is now in a 3-way tie for 4th at 5-4, but right now on the tiebreaker over UIW and Southeastern Louisiana. So, you look at the standings and they're ever changing and there's a lot of parity. Yeah. So it's kind of on any given Thursday, Saturday, anybody can win in this league.
It's almost like every week it changes. No dominant team. At the end of the day, though, every team has had its growing pains. Ours have been self-inflicted, but as we continue to move forward, we've got really good competition. We got these home games coming up, and then we hit the road for 4 straight games, and that's going to probably be the turning point in terms of the direction which this program is going in. How will we react after we play at home and then go on the road and play 4 straight? Will we be mentally tough enough to endure? There are a lot of question marks right now in terms of the future of where we're trying to go with the program.
All right, Coach. All right, next on the Lamar Basketball Show with Tick Price is off to Players Corner we go. We'll chat with Josh Nzikor.
In 1969, Walter Humphrey started a firm built on hard work.
Getting hard-working people the justice they deserve.
We fought for those who've been harmed by asbestos, benzene, and silica and beat big tobacco.
We represent the injured and wrong, including fighting for workplace safety, fair hours, and wages.
Over 40 years of hard-working values, and that's the way it's going to stay.
14 board-certified attorneys and named one of the best law firms in America.
Provost Humphrey, hard-working lawyers for hard-working people.
You know, diversification is important and means more than owning different stocks. Hi, I'm Mike Fulgens, president of Universal Coin and Bullion. I've been helping clients nationwide for 15 years diversify with gold. And I want to send you a free copy of our award-winning gold guide to help you choose the best gold options for you.
Get the answers you need about gold. Call us today at 866-UCB-GUIDE. That's 866-822-4843.
Hat maker Vincent Brimble prospered in the town of Hattington. Never flashy, he only made the classic bowler. Then suddenly the day's trend became preposterously tall. His Raymond James financial advisor reminded him that focusing on the long term is always fashionable. The fad was indeed a passing one. His patience paid off, allowing him to one day hang up his hat with confidence. Life well planned. See what a Raymond James advisor can do for you.
Time now for a Players Corner visit with sophomore forward Josh Nzikor out of beautiful Mesquite, Texas, which is just outside of Dallas, north and east of Dallas. And I only joke about Mesquite because I'm also from Dallas, you know. Josh, you know, watching you play this season, there's so big a difference. Your game last year to now. You walk out there, you seem to exude so much more confidence. You get the ball in the post and you know what you're doing with it. Have you been able to feel your improvement, and what did you do to improve your game?
I think it just comes with experience over the years, is getting adjusted to the speed of the game and the strength, physicality of the players, and just getting in the weight room this summer a lot. I think I put on about 6 pounds of muscle with the new strength and conditioning coach, so I give him a lot of credit for my play this year.
Your teammate Colton Weisbrod has obviously given a lift for this team down in the post along with you. How have you been able to play off what he's brought to the team and what you've been able to kind of counter as well?
I think we complement each other well. At first, at the beginning of the season, it was kind of tough adjusting to the new way we play, but I got used to it now. I know a lot of teams are looking to double team him in the post, or they might not see me backside. So if he misses a layup, I'm going to the rim every time to get it.
Right. And I talked with, Coach and I were talking earlier in the show about how many points you guys scored in the paint the other day. It's crazy how well you did against a good rebounding team in Northwestern State. Is this? And it looked like early on they were really, your team kind of had the game plan of getting it into the post, getting you guys involved. Was that part of what was going on against Northwestern?
Yeah, I think we tried to make that a focal point recently, just to make sure we have an inside-out game going, because the team, they'll get focused on the post players. Once they start going to focus on us, we can kick the ball back out to the guards and they start hitting threes.
Have you been surprised by the way this ball club has been able to kind of rally back? You guys had a really rough year, your freshman season. The way you guys have been able to put wins together, and how big was that win against Oregon State to kind of set the ball rolling?
Since I seen the group of guys we had in the summer, I already knew we were going to have a pretty good season ahead of us. We got a good group of guys. You know, they're committed to playing. They make sure they get in the gym. They got good characters. So it's not a surprise how good we're doing right now.
You're majoring, what's your major?
Business management.
Okay, what would you like to do with that?
I'm not sure right now, but if I was going to say, I would say I might open up my own training facility after I'm done playing basketball.
Having your own business.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea. That's a great idea. Would you like to go back to the Metroplex? And
I'll definitely go back to Dallas. And open something up.
Okay, you still have 2.5 more years here, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing. How has Coach Price, how has he handled you? Has he been able to verbally talk to you about your improvement that you've made?
Yeah, he lets me know when I'm doing good. He lets me know when I'm doing bad.
That's what a coach does, right?
That's what a coach does. So I got adjusted to it since last year and this year. I know if he's yelling at me, getting on me hard, he just wants me to get better. You know, just focus on what the good things, what he's trying to say, instead of the screaming and stuff sometimes.
You got to take that as a player, right?
Uh-huh.
Josh, thank you so much. Great last name in Z-Corps. That's really cool. Got to learn how to spell it, but it only took a while. Thank you so much and continued success.
Thank you.
All right, next on Lamar Basketball Show with Tick Price, a local high school product, becomes a star for the Cardinals, but it's been an interesting journey.
Mapping the oceans where we explore.
Protecting biodiversity
Everywhere we work.
defeating malaria,
Improving energy efficiency.
Developing more clean burning natural gas.
My job at ExxonMobil.
Turning algae into biofuels.
Reducing energy poverty.
In the developing world.
making cars go further with less.
Fueling the global economy.
And you thought we just made the gas.
Energy lives here.
Bando's. For over 30 years, catering the great events of the Golden Triangle and the milestones of its families. Our culinary experts and event specialists will assure your next event will be worry-free and special. Bando's Catering.
Most people who've been involved in accidents with an 18-wheeler driver, it's their first time. For an 18-wheeler, they've been down this more than once. And so they have a plan, they have a system in place. Most people who've been involved in accidents are not trained that way. Get with legal counsel so they can give you the appropriate steps to take the appropriate action so they can get the appropriate remedy.
To be honest, I didn't really understand the full extent of the accident. And then I realized that I was gonna need someone to represent me and not just anybody. And so I knew that while I was recovering, I needed someone that I can trust. And you know, I had a lot of sad days because of being ill and not being able to spend time with my family and my friends like I love to do. But at the same time, I never worried about my case at all. I knew I was in good hands.
Many of us saw the early signs of how good Colton Weisbrod could be on the basketball floor during his high school days at Nederland. Now we're seeing the maturation of Weisbrod, not only as a player, but as a person and a father. Here's Brooke Kirchhoffer.
Baseball seemed to be the golden ticket for a young boy out of Nederland, Texas, until his freshman year when he would make the varsity basketball team.
I can tell you one thing, I never thought I'd be playing basketball. You know, I enjoyed it. So I was out in the driveway playing with my older brother and his friends, you know. I thought I was, you know, decent at it, but I never thought I'd be at the Division I level.
And there just so happened to be a Division I university right down the road.
I always wanted to come to Lamar, you know, being a hometown kid, I always thought that was, you know, would be an option maybe. I'd end up here. I didn't, you know, to begin with, you know, that's okay. You know, it ended up, you know, my life brought me back here.
College started out in New Orleans for the Southeast Texas native and where life would soon take place.
It was interesting. It started off, you know, got out there in the summer and everything and things, you know, it was a new experience, kind of tough at first. And then the season, it was a bit rocky, but found out I was having a little boy. Allison, the mother of my son, and my fiance, we kind of decided that we were going to want to raise him back here. And, you know, I think it's something that we knew, but we didn't want to make public.
Starting out at the Division I level, Colton Weisbrod never thought he'd see himself playing basketball at a state college, but he would soon be calling Carl Parker Center home.
I think, going back to junior college, like what you said, the extra time really helped me. I grew as a person, as a man, as a father, and I think last year molded me to help me this year.
Finding success is always key for any athlete, but there's more to the athlete than just the stats.
I had seen some quick success at the junior college level, so I don't know where that recruitment would have taken me. It could have taken me to a big-time school, could have taken me wherever, but none of that mattered because I wanted to be here with my family, be with my son, the people around here supporting me. I wanted to be here for all of this.
We're going to take our final time out, but on the other side of the break, we answer our trivia question and we'll talk about tonight's matchup next.
In 1969, Walter Humphrey started a firm built on hard work.
Getting hardworking people the justice they deserve.
We fought for those who've been harmed by asbestos, benzene, and silica and beat big tobacco.
We represent the injured and wrong, including fighting for workplace safety, fair hours, and wages.
Over 40 years of hard-working values, and that's the way it's going to stay.
14 board-certified attorneys and named one of the best law firms in America.
Provost Humphrey, hard-working lawyers for hard-working people.
Have you been thinking about diversifying with gold but don't know how? Hi, I'm Mike Fulgens, President of Universal Coin and Bullion. As an award-winning nationwide dealer, we help clients get the answers they need to discover the beauty, security, and strength of gold in their portfolio.
Call us today at 866-UCB-GUIDE to receive our award-winning Gold Guide free. That's 866-822-4843.
Hat maker Vincent Brimble prospered in the town of Hattington. Never flashy, he only made the classic bowler. Then suddenly the day's trend became preposterously tall. His Raymond James financial advisor reminded him that focusing on the long term is always fashionable. The fad was indeed a passing one. His patience paid off, allowing him to one day hang up his hat with confidence. Life well planned. See what a Raymond James advisor can do for you.
Time now to answer this week's Susan and Roger McCurry trivia question. When was the last time 4 Lamar players scored 20 points or more in a game, and who were they? You got to go back all the way to 1979 against North Texas. The Mean Green didn't have an answer that night.
Wow.
You know?
I don't have much of an answer either. I'm going to take a wild guess. B.B. Davis.
Yeah.
Clarence Key. I know they had a guard, Oliver, that could shoot it.
Yes.
And I don't know who else it could be.
All right, let's
and I'm
see the
taking
answer.
a wild guess.
Yeah. Key, Oliver, Davis, and Lewis. There you go.
Okay. Well, I can
Very
tell you
nice.
who the coach probably was, Billy Tubbs.
There you go. You just let him shoot.
Yeah.
Coach, you have McNeese coming up tonight at the Montaigne Center very quickly.
McNeese is a very talented basketball team. It's a rivalry. So both teams is going to go after it. You can throw the records out of the window. This is going to be a very entertaining game, hard-fought game, and we're just going to see who wants it the most.
Go ahead and check them out. McNeese and Lamar. Peck 'em.
Peck 'em.
Peck 'em. Peck 'em.
Lamar University Basketball with Coach Tick Bryce. Brought to you by Provost Humphrey Law Firm, Bando's Catering, Universal Coin and Bullion, Raymond James, and ExxonMobil. With special thanks to Susan and Roger McCurry.